Welcome to the Living Lighter Facebook live show. I am your host, Sally Thibault. This morning we are talking how to stop playing small. If 2020 has taught us anything, is that it's time to be the real you. Let's go. And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Living Lighter Show. So excited to bring this to you today. Good morning, Louise. Good morning, Katerina. Lovely to have you here. Good morning, Possum. Isn't that lovely? That's lovely. And good morning to you, Louise, on this gorgeous morning. I hope you guys are well. We're going to get right into the show today because I really want to make this as powerful as possible for you. We're going to be looking at the reasons why we play small. 3 reasons. I'll share a little story at the end, how I learned this little analogy I continue to remind myself about, and then we're going to do a tapping session at the end. So we want to finish right on 8 o'clock. I know your time is valuable wherever you are this morning. I hope you're well. For all our Victorian viewers and listeners, we are thinking of you. Challenging times. Just know we're just wrapping this collective loving hug around you and with you. And again, I mentioned yesterday on one of my stories, I think, if you are struggling, you're living in Victoria and right now, and you are struggling, please reach out. We are here for you. We are really here for you. And it's challenging, and we feel to have to do this again, and the news just seems to get worse each day. Just please know we're all with you. We're all thinking about you. Hello, Kathy. Good morning. Thank you very much. Yes, bright colors today. Just felt like bright colors. You know, that thing about not playing small. Rightio, let's get right into this morning. I hope you have your cup of tea. I have my beautiful doTERRA oils, a drop of lemon, a drop of ginger, and hot water every morning. I just love it. It's the way that I love to start up each day. Rightio, just let me get my banners up and ready to go. Rightio, let's look at playing small. You know, it's a thing for many women. We tend to do this a lot, where we will shrink and play small, often to make others feel better. But as I mentioned in the intro, if there's anything I think that we are learning about 2020 is that, what are you waiting for? This is not the time to be playing small. This is the time to be stepping up, whether that's in your body, whether that's in your relationships, or whether that's in your business or career. Because if you don't step up now, what are you waiting for? And it's quite simple that the world needs wise women in your circle of influence, as Stephen Covey talks about. In your circle of influence, those that you can impact, they're the ones that need us to step out as women who have experience and have wisdom and have been through challenging times in the past. We're the ones that really need to step up and help guide. Some of these younger people have not been through it. And I was on a forum yesterday, and some people are really doing it tough right now. So when you can speak your truth, when you can shine, you give others permission to do the same. But let's look at the reasons why this is so difficult. This number one reason is it's our brain's job to keep us safe. Oh, I put an apostrophe in there. That shouldn't be it. Is it? Your brain is job. Our brain's job. Doing this quickly. Your brain's job is to keep you safe. That's what your brain is designed to do. The flight, fight, and freeze response is the role of the limbic system. So whenever you feel in fear or stress or overwhelm or anxiety, the role of that limbic system, the emotional centers of your brain, is to keep you safe. So it will do anything to keep you safe. Now, when you are ready to step up and step out and be who you need to be, there's two aspects in the limbic system that swing into play. One is our amygdala, that small little walnut size bunch of neurons and nerves in the base of our brain, what we call the reptilian brain, controls our memory and emotional processing. The second part is the hippocampus, and it helps with organizing, storing, and memory forming, and is the most sensitive area to stress. Now, these parts of the brain, as I mentioned, are there to keep you safe. They hold on to old memories to stop you doing it again, whenever it was, whatever you did, so that you don't place yourself in danger. But the brain doesn't know the difference between danger now and danger when you were 5. Same thing, same elements, because it's what you believe then, not what you believe now, that keeps you playing small. And stepping up into that courageous, authentic part of you requires courage. If there's people, words, or events of your past that have played a part in keeping you small, trying to change that and suddenly step up, the amygdala, the hippocampus, the parts of the limbic system of your brain, stop you from doing it so you don't remembers danger. The only way to shift that, in my experience, is using EFT, which we'll use at the end of this show today. So that's number one. So whenever you're stepping up into wanting to speak your truth, be courageously authentic, shine your light, be bigger, be bolder, be brighter, those old memories, those old stories, they will still keep playing you out. And no matter how much you try, if you haven't cleared the emotional connection to that past story, it's just not going to happen. It's uncomfortable. You will automatically, your brain will pull you back. It'll make you can't put your words together. It'll make you want to run. It'll make you want to get angry instead of staying in the calm and speaking your truth. That's what the flight, fight, and freeze response does. And for many people, and particularly my peacemakers on this call and our quiz that I've created, it's really challenging to speak your truth because you have a strong need for security and you don't like conflict. And so if speaking your truth requires that, your brain is going to pull you back big time. It's not going to let you go there. All right, so that's number one. So it's identifying the past patterns where you felt unsafe and continue to do so. And, as I recommend and say to my clients all the time, sometimes you can work on this and you haven't hit an aspect. That's all it is. You haven't hit an aspect. It's an old pattern continually replaying. And so and right now, I think, as we're peeling back so many layers of the who we are, where fear is continuously being fed to us by the media, that it's very difficult to step up and to shine brightly. For that fear, there's just this low-grade anxiety that exists in many places. So it requires you to be brave. We're going to tap on that in a minute. Right. If you can't shift it, if it still stays with you, check to see if, again, I'm doing this fast, if the belief that's supposed to say is not yours. It may be not your belief. The role of epigenetics, which is trauma passed through your DNA, is gaining much more interest. People like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, and many others in the EFT field are examining this, that a lot of our beliefs are actually passed down through generations, and it could be some trauma that's been passed down from your grandparents. This was when I was looking at my money beliefs. I had to go back because I sort of worked around all my own things and recognized it wasn't just my pattern. It was a pattern that had been handed down through family. I grew up there's two sides to our family, and generations past I'm talking about, where one side of the family was wealthy and the other side was poor. And I happen to come from the poor side. And so then I had to do a lot of the clearing of those beliefs and forgiveness and work around stuff that had happened in past generations. It wasn't my belief to begin with. There was just something that I had bought on. So check around, check back, look at your mother, your grandmother. Were they the type of people that could speak their truth? Did they grow up in an era where, and most of us would have had mothers in particular, grandparents, who didn't have the confidence, the ability to speak their truth, who didn't have the freedom we do, especially around reproduction, that kept them kind of, having to play that smaller role. So check around that, and that, I just love that whole generational thing, is looking at where you come from, and it gives you a greater understanding, I believe, about just the generational impact of many of the struggles we have around not playing small. So what was that generational story that you've been told about women, about success, about money? What's the story you've been told? Because when you want to stop playing small, going back to that, looking at the limbic system, that trauma and what's been locked in your brain, the people, words, events of your past that have been said to you about stepping into who you really want to be. Were you told children should be seen and not heard? Were you told a woman's place is in the home? Were you told, nice girls don't get anywhere? What were the things you were told as a child? I mean, we tell our children, our daughters, a lot, I think, and our sons too, about living their dream and being all they can be. But do you honestly believe that about you? Do you honestly, deep down, deep in that depths that you'll never speak, do you believe that's about you? Because if you don't believe it's about you, then how can you pass that on to your children? They will always have that little shadow there. We all have it, that little shadow. So, are you carrying a belief that's not yours? Just check around that. Every time you want to speak your truth, feel what that feels like. Is this belief mine, or I inherited this? And I said, in my experience when I'm working with clients, it's not necessarily theirs. It's something that's been told to them. Got to shift it. Okay, we're going to do that in that tapping session in about 6 minutes' time. One more thing that I want to talk about, and I learned this about. I'm trying to think when I went to this event. It was about coming up to 4 years ago now, I think. I attended an event in Los Angeles with a woman that I follow, a woman that I love listening to her podcast, and she was offering places at her event, the first event she'd been going to have for many years. And she had a certain number of places, and I was offered a place to go to this event. Flew to, it happened to be, I was speaking in Canada at the time, at a function in Canada, and just all the timing just worked perfectly. Flights I could move, and the girls could come with me. They were going anyway. One of those moments that really worked beautifully. For those who don't know, my two daughters live in Vancouver. They were able to come to Los Angeles with me, which we had a lovely mum-girl time while I was attending this event. However, I walked into this event, and every woman in that room was a leader in her field in some area from all over the world. There was about 50 of us, and I was sitting at a table with women who were multiple 7-figure income earners. In other words, their businesses were bringing in $1 million a year each. So there was one woman I was sitting with had 2 7-figure businesses. There was another one I was sitting next to who had something like 500,000 followers on Instagram and Facebook, and every time she did a launch for something, she'd make $2, $3, or $4 million in her launch. If you don't think I felt like the country cousin sitting at this event, I'll tell you, I felt small. But what was interesting was the woman who was running the event told this story, the analogy, and it just really sort of pinged with me, is the using the analogy of buying the worst house in the best street. You know, when in real estate they talk about that, is that if you're going to make good money, you look for the worst house in the best street, which you can add value to it. And she used that analogy. And the analogy is don't play small by going to events or going to networking events where you're the number one. Go to events where other people are better than you, are doing business better than you, have more wisdom than you. Even at my age, I felt so insignificant. So what do I bring? I don't have multiple 7-figure businesses, these women, and they were women just like me. They weren't any different. But hanging around them, wow, did that ever rub off on me? Did that ever just allow me to see what's really possible? So check who you hang around with most. Who are the people you hang around with most? Are they encouraging you? And I want to use the word forcing, because I can't think of any other word. Forcing you to step up? Or are you hanging around with people that don't demand more of you? Because when you're around a supportive group of individuals who are challenging you to play bigger, you have 2 choices: play bigger or don't. Simple as that. But I tell you, that event, that 3-day event, had a profound impact on me about where I choose to play the game and what's possible. And oftentimes when I'm deciding what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to share with you guys, that feeling, that visualization and feeling of that event in Los Angeles at that time, at the Ritz-Carlton, by the way, comes back to me. There's no difference between me, and there's no difference between the women that were sitting around the table, except that they choose to step up. That's all they did. All they did. In fact, one girl was a fitness instructor, started the same time as I did in the early 1980s, same as me, and she's gone on to do this as these 2 7-figure businesses. Just found different niches to move into, and there she was, tough cookie, mind you. Let me tell you, she took no prisoners, but that was what was really empowering for me, to sit there and listen. So when you want to step up and stop playing small, you must surround yourself with people who allow you to do that as well, or force you, one way or the other. So just check around the people that you hang around with. Who are they? Don't be the biggest fish in the small pond. That's not going to get you anywhere. You want to be the small fish in the big pond. Step up. And then use EFT or meditation or visualization and all those things to give you the courage to do that. We're going to tap on that in about 2 minutes. I do want to just get to some of these comments before we move on. And just quickly, if you are ready to do this and step up and be who you really want to be, where are we? There we go. I invite you to book a strategy session with me. And I will put that in the comments so you can click on it. But let's not waste any time. I don't know about you, but this last week, my family has gone back into lockdown again in Victoria, and it really needs to. It's just causing this low-grade anxiety. This has to mean something. Whatever we're going through right now has to mean something. And I just listened to a podcast just yesterday, day before, and this girl was saying, I'm not going to let 2020 get to me. I'm going. This girl runs a big business. I'm going to make sure it counts, and I believe that's what this is for us, making it count. I'm just going to get to some of these comments. Katerina, my brain needs an overhaul. I think constantly, Katerina, all of us. Not until I met my late husband did I really take control of my own beliefs around money for the better. Oh, that's great. Yes. And that's it, isn't it? Like, it's just you taking control of it. I love it. Good morning, Sandy. Lovely to see you here. Makes sense. Thank you. Obviously something I said. Great. All right, listen, we're going to go straight into this tapping now. Are you ready? Just give me a yes or a heart or something if you're ready for this tapping session. Let me know too if you have any questions. Pop them in the comments. We'll get to them after the tapping. But I want to do this one. Yes, brilliant, Sandy. Time for change. It sure is. Sure is. We have to have learnt something from this. And it's not fear. It's not fear. What does it mean lockdown Victoria affects our family emotional mindset? That's exactly, Debbie. And I spoke to my family yesterday, and some of them, and they're saying this time it's really hard. It's really hard. And, the news just keeps getting worse for them. And so, as I said to my family yesterday, I'm just sending you collectively big hug from here. We're with you, we understand it. We're just with you, and we get you, and it's affecting their emotional mindset. All right, thank you, Jackie, for that lovely heart. Rightio, let's do this, people, shall we? Who's ready for a tapping session? Okay, I want you to think of a time, a moment where you wanted to step up, speak your truth, shine a little bit, and you wanted to, you felt fear or overwhelmed, or you got stuck on your words, or you spoke your truth, you stepped up and you got hit, or you know what I mean, paraphrasing it, metaphorically, something happened. Think of that. And I want you to hold on to that. Again, these tappings are general. In order for this to work, you've got to get very specific, but we're going to do the general one, and then we'll do a nice reframe at the end that you can use yourself in your weekly tapping, for those of you who are doing it daily or weekly. I want you to think of it and measure the level of fear, overwhelm, disappointment, sadness, embarrassment, whatever it is. I'll just use the word fear. Even though that time when I wanted to speak my truth, I felt that fear. I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though there is some fear around stepping up into my truth, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though being my true self still has some trepidation around it, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Okay, tapping. Who do I think I am? What gives me the right to shine Maybe I should just stay silent. Not sure where that belief came from. Who do I think I am? What gives me the right to shine? Maybe I should just be seen and not heard. Who do I think I am? If I speak my truth, I might be on my own. What if I'm criticized? What if I really don't know what I'm talking about? What if I'm wrong? What if I fail? Who do I think I am? What gives me the right? Who do I think I am? Just take a deep breath and let it go. Just write down, if you can, any thoughts that are kind of flowing through, any memories, any ideas. Just write them down. It can be really, you may think it's insignificant, but it may be really bringing you back. So now, in a normal tapping session, of course, you would measure on a scale of 1 to 10. If that's dropped, we always want to get that feeling down to a 2 or a 0 if we can, but usually a 2, 1 or 2. But I'm going to give you the reframe round now. Again, you want to use this when you've cleared that emotion, but we're going to do that now. Even though I have some trepidation still about stepping into my truth, I give myself permission to speak my truth with compassion. Even though there is some doubt or fear, I give myself permission to be courageously authentic. Even though there's still a little bit of doubt or fear, I give myself permission to be true to myself without the attachment to the outcome. Here we go. I give myself permission to speak my truth. I give myself permission to be courageously authentic. I give myself permission to be true to myself. I choose to release the attachment to the outcome. I give myself permission to speak my truth. I give myself permission to be courageously authentic. I give myself permission to be true to myself. I choose to release the attachment to the outcome. Take a deep breath and let it go. You can use that mantra during the week. I give myself permission. Remember, this is brand new, and you may need to start giving yourself permission to speak your truth and to step up. And the last little bit, without attachment to outcome, I think is incredibly important, because if you speak your truth, it's not because you're expecting somebody or something to change. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. Speaking your truth, stepping up into your courageous authenticity, to paraphrase Brené Brown, is not about anybody else. This is simply about you. And if you are speaking your truth because you want someone to change, you may end up being disappointed. It's not about anybody else. All right, just let me have a look at some of the comments before you go. Debbie, oh, my son's in Melbourne. Yeah, so you know what every people are going through. Okay, thanks, Debbie. Look forward to you doing that tapping session later on. Sandy, I wanted to go on Gladiators and was so fit, but my dad shut me down because I was the mother of one. Yep. Sandy, I choose to step into my true body are the words I heard. Beautiful. Yep, I choose to step into my true body. Remember, the body holds all of this. It holds the pain. It holds the doubt. It holds the fear. That's what our body does. That's what weight is. Pain is. It's holding the body. We did a whole show on that just a little while ago. Absolutely beautiful, Sandy. And I am yawning, so I am heading in the right direction. You are. I love it. I love it. All right, everybody, that is our show for today. I'm finishing right on time at 8:01. Thank you for being with me today. I look forward to speaking with you next week. If you are struggling, please reach out, book a strategy session with me, see if and how I can help you. And I look forward to chatting with you next Saturday at 7:30 on the Living Lighter Facebook Live show. And we'll see you then. Have a great weekend. Bye.